Island. We are so grateful to have you join us. We would appreciate if you could please turn off your cell phones. For those joining us in person, it is wonderful to have you back. Please be sure to wear masks throughout the service and to maintain physical distancing. Please be seated and try not to form lines. During the service, all music will be performed by our musicians and worship leaders. We encourage you to listen and follow along silently, singing with our hearts. For those joining us online, we send special greetings to you. We hope you take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat box this morning. After service, all are invited to coffeeless coffee hour. For those online, you will be having a virtual coffee hour after service. Those in person are invited to sit in circles for conversation and reflection in the parish hall after the service. Welcome, everyone. It's such a joy and celebration to have you back.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Staten Island. I am the Reverend Emily D. Tarbert, pronoun she, her, hers, and I'm speaking live from our sanctuary here on the corner of Fillmore and Clinton Avenue. I am so glad that you came. Grateful to have you with us, whether you are joining us here embodied or online with us. Thank you. It is a joy to be together. Today we gather for a special service, a service dedicated to the living memory of those who have gone before us and are laid to rest in our hearts and in our memorial garden. Today we honor the names of those we have lost personally, as well as remember all of those who are in our garden this morning. So as we prepare to remember the dead, let us honor their memory in the ways we see their spirit alive with us today. To open our service in this vein, I read for you words from Kathleen McTeague. They are still with us. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who give us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too are strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might be to come. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice or who suffered injustice, or who have lived in our hearts. They have not melted into dust. They have not disappeared. They are with us still. Their lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. Let us this morning live in that deeper path of living.
We light this chalice with these special words for our Memorial Garden service. May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek what is good within and around us.
I now invite the choir to sing Spirit of Life, while our tech host might post the words in the chat box for those joining online.
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in the the stairs of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life shape of justice. Roots only close, wings set we free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
I now invite Tom to give our first reading, and then Diane.
First reading, Ecclesiastes. There is an appointed time for everything, and a time for every affair under the heaven. Time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot the plant, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to tear down, and a time to build, a time to weep, time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them, a time to embrace, and a time to be far from embraces, a time to seek, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to be silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace.
Hello. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Ecclesiastes used time to approach the inevitabilities of our lives, including death, and I would like to use energy as a way to discuss what we can learn and experience relative to death and the deeper beauty of a memorial garden. Death is a part of all of our journeys. I was asked to become a chairperson of the Memorial Garden recently, and I was very pleased to do so, probably because death is always on my mind. Not in a terrifying or anguished sense, but as a transcendent event, which has taught me so much. Don't get me wrong. I, like most of us, was taught to fear death and have tried like hell to ignore it and avoid it. I lost a sister, a husband, and in June, my father. It is not easy to be good at death when every muscle wants to run the other way, from fear and loss, loneliness, pain, and the confusion it brings. But today, having walked a bit in that valley, I am changed. I am better prepared. And I see our memorial garden as the perfect demonstration of my journey. And I hope you too will experience it as an inspiration, its exuberance, and a living place. The garden has its seasons, where everything we encounter is waiting to shift into its next form, from soil to seed, to roots and shoots, to flower, and back into the soil. Scientist Aaron Freeman explained in his eulogy from a physicist that the law of conservation energy, i.e. energy is not made or ever destroyed, but simply transformed. In this way, all of us are destined to become something new. I believe there are 4 types of energies we humans experience: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. In my work with end of life, there is a foundational belief that we do transform to death. As we transition into death, we are able to straddle between the physical and the spiritual energy realms. Our feet are simultaneously in two different worlds. We seem to straddle. We simultaneously live that. So as our physical and mental egos diminish, our spiritual energy seems to blossom. Such changes are seen in the dying universally across the globe, regardless of our creeds, traditions, or the scientific explanations. Being with someone at this point of their diminishing life is an experience. We offer them solace and support, hopefully, and it is a hard task we are given, but also a great honor, not a horror. Sitting in a garden amidst both the slow and galloping seasons around us is a good place to gain perspective, a good place to see the change our energy will undoubtedly take. After all, is death not 100% guaranteed? Although life expectancy has more than doubled in the past 100 years, modern medicine's valiant attempt to conquer death has never taught us how to live. That, ironically, is death's job. That's the garden's job. In a garden, I'm reminded to be accepting. Like Emily in Thornton Wilder's third act of Our Town, I am taught to cherish my life, the banal and the harsh, right now. I see the wisdom in preparing my family to be awake and open to end-of-life lessons, lessons equal to or greater than the miracles of birth or romantic love. I dig in the garden when I consider the big universal truths: transcendence, love, presence, service, gratefulness, forgiveness. I believe an energetic life connection to death can transform and free us. So let's not run, let's cherish our energy while we prepare for the transitional journeys we are all bound to take.
Now is the time in our service to share remembrances of those who have transitioned. In this space, we lift the names of those we have lost, friends, family, close bonds that live on in our memory. For those who are gathering in person, we invite you to raise your hand and then stand where you are seated and speak aloud the names of those you wish to remember. You may share the name, your relationship to them, and a sentence about them. The Reverend will then repeat what you have said into the microphone so those joining online can hear what you have shared. For those who are joining us online, we invite you to type into the chat those you are remembering. You type and share the name, your relationship to them, and a sentence or so about them. The minister will read them aloud.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes. Diane would like to remember her father, Robert M. Matches, and her husband, Benjamin Jacobs. Yes, Mike Stein. Mike Stein would like to remember his mother, Maddie Stein. Yes, Allie. Allie would like to lift up her husband, Tom Snell, and Isaac's dad, Tom Snell, and Ivy's dad, Tom Snell. We hold him dearly in our hearts, Allie. Yes, Lewis. Lewis just had a friend who passed of a brain aneurysm. Our hearts are with you and with your friend. Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Ted Lockwood, would like to remember my parents, Paul and Marion Truffleman, two brothers-in-law, Ken Burris, who's very recently been
So Ted would like to remember his parents, Paul and Mary. Yes, Marion. And your brother-in-laws, Ken Burgess and Ray Olson. We lift all of these memories in our hearts today. Yes, Tom. Can you repeat that last name? Sorry. Barb and Gary, who are carpool buddies. Our hearts are with you, Tom. It is hard to lose fast friends, especially when you go on trips and adventures. I'd like to lift up some of the ones that are in the chat now for everyone that's here. Viv and Mark are thinking of their dad, who is in the Memorial Garden, Albert Edward Vassar. Ruth Benson is remembering all of the elders of her family. I see that Pamela Ferracci is with us this morning. She is the sister of Linda Trabman and lifts up Linda Trabman's memory. We certainly miss her, especially all of her delicious food here at the community. Is there anyone else who'd like to share? I see Beatrice. Go ahead and just speak into that mic there.
I'd like to remember my brother, Walter Bellows, who passed this last summer, and my dear friend, Thelma Jergro, and another good friend, Joan O'Hare.
If you want to speak, Sarah, you can speak.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'd like to remember my parents, Herman and Ada Browse.
All of these we carry in our hearts and their memories. Yes, I see Christine. So Christine shares the memory of her father, Bill, and of your brother, Gary, and her mom, Anne, her mom who used to live in the parsonage right next door before she passed. So this place brings cherished memories, and November is a packed month both of birthdays and of death days, so we hold you in our hearts and their memory in our hearts today. Linda. Linda would like to remember her mother, Pamela, her Peggy, I'm so sorry, doing my best, Maybell, and her husband, Jeffrey. Is that correct? And we hold all of them in our hearts this morning, Linda, and we're so grateful to have you with us today as we share their memory with you. Would anyone else like to share? Yes, Kevin, go ahead.
I'd like to remember Carolyn's parents, Clark and Lucille Hendershot, and my father, Gilbert Clark.
Thank you, Kevin. I'd like to lift up from Kate, who joins us. I'd like to remember my friend, Alice Johnson, who was a member of this church. Yes, we hold Alice in our hearts today. Jim and Marilyn, did you have your hand raised?
Really a pleasure to be in this church. I remember my father saying, I don't know why anybody would rebel against this church. And I thought, he hasn't been here long enough. I remember all the people, like Mary Lou Green and Brad Green, and all the people that were the leaders, our leaders, who we served on the back of, and hopefully we will continue in their tradition of helping the community, believing in a wholesome acceptance of people, Black Lives Matter, and a number of we were one of the few welcoming congregations on Staten Island, and that's a really important thing on Staten Island. If we should forget it, which I don't think we will. And I'm so happy to be here with the singing, with the choir, and the family, and the people who are leading this service. So thank you all for the specialness, especially Mary Lou Green and Brad, who are very responsible for the garden outside. And that's a beautiful, and if nobody else is doing it, go visit it. It's a beautiful place to sit and think about.
Can you repeat the names of your parents?
Oh, my father was Fred Servitov.
Fred Servita.
Fred Servitov. Fred to keep saying it's a Jewish name. And my mother Sadie Servitov.
Sadie. Frederick and Sadie.
Sorry, there was one other. There were two other people I forgot, and there's so many people here. But two of the leaders in my life, one was Joe Goldberg, a terrific teacher who taught me a lot about rebellion to be accepted lawfully. And my boss, Roland Watts, who happened to be at one time the leader of a lot of very good organizations, migrant workers, rebelling people during the Vietnam War, who got people out of jail and kept them out of jail. And those people taught us, as well as our parents, to be kind and to help other people. These are people who work on my committee.
So I hear the memory of Joel Olson and Robert, is that correct?
I said Roland.
Roland Watts. Thank you for your patience, everyone. So Joel Osteen and Roland Watts, who were both incredible mentors to Marilyn, who did incredible things for helping the Vietnam War and other things like that. She also lifts up the names of her parents, Fred and Sadie, and also the memory of Brad and Mary Lou Green, who were here, who helped found the Memorial Garden and mentioned just how much and how important it was to be part of our Unitarian community, and all of that we hold in our hearts and our memory. Thank you all. Kathy, yes. Kathy would like to lift up the names of her sister Jane and of Harvey Rosenfitz. This is hard. So many people who have lost to us, but we hold their memory with us and carry it. Thank you for lifting up those names, Kathy. Are there any other names we'd like to lift in this time? I have a few in my heart. If we think of those who've passed away in this community, some of them have been mentioned, Tom Snell and Harvey Rosenfitz. I also want to lift up the names of Richard Curry and Levester Thompson, those who we have lost, but whose memory lives on in this community in the ways that we support and love and call for justice. I'm going to give a moment of silence, and I'm going to see if there's any more in the chat or more that we'd like to lift up in our hearts. We know that there are so many more names, so many more people who have touched our lives, who have passed but who live on for us. And I thank you for your patience of me repeating the names of those you've spoken and of this time that we share together. May we, the living, continue to live in their legacy of love and know that they are not gone, but their spirit lives on with how we continue to live. May it be so, and amen.
Okay, the second part of this is more explanations about the memorial garden. It's in the churchyard right behind me. It's a place of sensorial beauty and tranquility where we honor the memories of friends and family members. It's a long-term repository for ashes of Unitarian of Staten Island Church members and others. The space was designed by the renowned landscape architect Bradford Green, and is a sister garden to another space he created in Marblehead, Massachusetts. But it was a United Church endeavor. And as mentioned, it was midwifed by his indomitable wife, Mary Lou Green, and other committee members at the time, including Virginia Allen and many of us. The result is what I consider a very unique and vital aspect of our church's built and spiritual environment. When I started attending services here 25 years ago with my first baby, I guess it was 1997 or so, the garden was one of the very first projects that I heard about. I wasn't a member yet, but it seemed like a forward-thinking project, and you get your name on a list. And I felt like the energy I was getting from Brad and Mary Lou and Virginia and others made sense. So I donated some dollars, and the garden was dedicated in 2001. Then in 2008, just 11 years later, we lost my husband. Sending him off to some distant, to me, impersonal cemetery seemed wrong to me. I wanted something close. I wanted something accessible. I wanted something to be part of our daily family life, like coming to church here, which we had joined. It was not distant. I wanted him to be part of my kids growing up. In addition, the garden committee members helped me plan a memorial that I will not forget. The garden is special, and it's simple. Its simple design reflects the unity of being a Unitarian. There's a Fibonacci spiral shaped garden walk, and it's comprised of several elements, all donated or raised from us. There's the Circle of Remembrance, which is a 15-foot diameter lily turfed center surrounded by the walkway, the spiraling walkway. Inside there is where the ashes can be buried in biodegradable containers that look like it's from Tiffany's. It's very pretty. And this area is nestled around plants, including flowering trees like a dogwood and a star magnolia. There are 4 lovely teak benches that offer a place for meditation or sitting or talking with a friend. There's a stone wall that hugs the curve of the walkway, also ideal for sitting. There's a sign, a tablet sign listing the names of those who are interred in the center of remembrance. And then there's a beautiful hand-cast bell that was added just a few years ago and offers powerful resonance to memorials and services and can be rung today. I say people are just dying to get in, right? But if you are among those who feel uncomfortable with the subject of planning, for our end, my end, it does reduce a little stress. If you are a church member or connected to one of us, you may choose the garden as your final resting place. And if you want more information, you can contact me and the committee. I'm learning about more of the details as I go, but you can also look online. It's listed there under rentals, which I think we should move. Rentals seems weird, I think once you're in, And there's brochures, which I'll look in the back. Maybe I didn't grab them today, but there's some brochures. So if you have any more questions, please see us, call the church, leave a message. All right.
Now is the time in our order of service where we take an offering. We know it is the gifts of all of us that help support our ability to thrive and gather. For those in person, we invite you to drop your offering into the basket on the left of the stage as you exit into the parish hall, after the service. For those online, links and instructions will be posted in the chat. You can mail us a check or donate on our PayPal giving page. Please give as generously as you can. Our offering will now be gratefully received. I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn. We are led to those who love us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I am today because I knew you. Like a garment pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me, like a handprint on my heart. And now I get the way our stories end. I know you have written on that leading my friend, like a ship from the morning, like a wind off the sea, like a sea cloud first fiber in the distant woods. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good.
We're going to now read the names of the people interred in the garden. And you're going to ring the bell, right? Okay, William L. Payne, Jeffrey M. Santlofer. You can hold it from the top. Up, now try it. Just wiggle it. Good. Okay, Jeffrey M. Santlofer, Horace E. Colpitz, Lynn Kornblunt, Richard M. Meyer, Abraham Kornblunt, Louis H. Hayes, E. Joyce Masaccio, Guy Erlandson, Roger Hawkins, Charles Murray Cossey, Norma E. Cossey, Marjorie O'Brien Rappaport, Walter Henry Persans, Benjamin M. Jacobs, Mary Rita Erlanden, Tito Masaccio, Alice M. Johnson, Faye Radin Ferretti, Nicola Khalil, William Taylor Suderman, Mary Louise Green, Jean Payne, Maxine Fields Kneppe, Timothy J. Knepper, Albert Edward Vassar, Ruth Leeson, Bradford Green, Rosemary Cleveland Fitzgerald, and Linda Gale Trabman. We think of these people, some of us who we knew very well, and we celebrate their lives and think about what they offered us.
Thank you for listing those names. As we reflect on the legacy of all of those memories, I offer this blessing from Washington Irving for the garden and all those who lay there. There is a sadness in tears. They are not a mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are the messengers of overwhelming grief, of deep contrition, and of unspeakable love. May it be so, and amen. Now we will listen to the choir sing the final hymn, Let Hope and Sorrow Now Unite, number 412.
Let hope and sorrow now unite, so consecrate life's ending, and praise good friends now gone from sight, all grief and loss are ending. The story in a well of praise, the years and days are thoughts retrace, our treasures worth repeating. With faith or doubt or open mind, we whisper life's great question. The ebb and flow of space and time surpass our small perception. Yet knowledge grows with joy and gains, and finds out wonders far and strange than hopes of resurrection.
I invite you to join me in extinguishing our chalice. Please repeat after me if you know the words. We extinguish this flame, but not but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. For these we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Wouldn't seem right to end the service without a beautiful visit to our beautiful Memorial Garden service. So for the benediction, I invite you to carefully process out through the parish hall doors and through the back entrance, and we'll gather around the Memorial Garden as we hear the benediction. I will be gathering our online visitors to come take a journey with us on my camera phone. I will see you out there shortly. Hello, everyone. We're going to go outside. I need my tablet.
That was the basket that.
Oh, that's